Okay, I'd like to call this meeting Facilities Management and Transportation Committee for February 7th, 2022 to order. Is there any public comment regarding the agenda?
I see none at this time.
Okay, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Lally.
Good evening, everyone. We'd like to start this evening with an update on our new middle school. So I'd like to ask Mr. Jamie Lynch from Dewey Engineering to come to the mic.
Mike's live and Dave's driving for me, right?
Sure, yeah.
Joe, can we turn the...
Okay. Good evening. Happy New Year. I haven't seen the committee in a couple of months, a couple new faces. I'm Jamie Lynch with Dewey Engineering. With me is Jim Kiefer from KCBA Architects and Bill Hambley, who's our boots on the ground in the field on Colonial Middle School project. So pleasure to see a couple of new faces. Chris, you're a veteran now, right? Update on Keith Valley. So if you go ahead, Dave, I just wanted to provide a little bit of a picture history for the
Colonial
Middle School.
Excuse me, Colonial Middle School. Apologize.
We like Hatboro Horsham, but we prefer.
Sorry,
Colonial
just came from there. I thank Dave for speaking long, so I had time to get from that meeting to this one. I apologize. So, quick history of Colonial Middle School. It has been quite the long, strange trip. But on the left-hand side is January of 2020. Foundations in the ground, and of course, between January and May, which is the right-hand slide, there was a pandemic that hit the country and also the project. We were shut down for about 6 weeks, and work continued. If you go to the next slide, Dave. In the summer of 2021, three-story classroom wing was constructed, and we worked our way from left to right across the page. The process for this building was to get the three-story classroom wing finished first, because that's where a lot of work is, and obviously we wanted to set up classroom space in those classrooms. We proceeded to move across the building to get to the gymnasiums, and we had another COVID impact to the structural steel fabricator, and they were delayed in getting the gyms erected and the end of the building, which includes the kitchen and the locker room. But we got through it, and if you go to the next slide, toward the end of last year, we were completely enclosed. Our gymnasium over there to the right and the auxiliary gym were completed. In November of this year, asphalt paving went in and landscaping was completed around the three-story classroom wing, which took us to the end of the year, and January 1st was our contract completion date. But for the 6-week COVID shutdown on the job, we had pushed our completion date to contractors out to President's Day weekend, or roughly the 17th of February, which is rapidly approaching. So if we go inside the building on the next slide, Dave, our corridors over that course of that time have been completed and enclosed. There's a finished picture on the right. We have terrazzo floors, lockers in place, classrooms in place, furniture in place. Go ahead, Dave. Gymnasium, same thing. Even since December, there's been quite a bit of progress up until this week, where the bleachers have been installed. We have a folding door between the auxiliary gym and the main gym that is coming and will be installed. A scoreboard to be installed yet, and it is coming along very nicely in the main gymnasiums. They're very nice. Okay, we can go to the next. Auditorium is also looking quite nice. Big changes even since December, when our acoustical clouds were hung in the ceiling, the flooring was installed. The seating, as you can see, has been installed and is now covered with plastic. The wood stage has been installed, and the remainder of the finishes are going in as we speak. Go ahead, Dave, sorry. The Commons area, which is a 2-story open space that has a mezzanine from the upper level Also has double doors into a courtyard that is an outdoor space that has synthetic turf on it, is coming along. There are sound panels installed on a projector wall, a good number of colors and inspirational signage that is also doubles as acoustical treatment in the space. So it's moving right along. Go ahead, Dave. Kitchen and cafeteria is the area that is trying to be finished right now. Cafeteria is getting ready for above ceiling inspection so we can drop tiles. The kitchen has its flooring, its wall tile, its equipment installed. We are working on finishing the fire alarm so that the Ansel system, the kitchen hood, can be tested. And we are scheduled for, I believe it's the 8th or the 9th, for a 75% Department of Health inspection on the kitchen. So very similar to many other buildings, the kitchen is usually last to be completed, and that's the thing that is right down to the wire. One of the reasons that it's also down to the wire is that we want to make sure that food service gets in and they can set up their kitchen, that their kitchen is clean, that we're ready to go for the first day that we do lunches. This is very typical that the kitchen ends up being the very last thing to be done. But everyone has concentrated their efforts here, and it's going to be right down to the wire in the kitchen. Next slide, please. Library has moved along. Library is the home of a spiral stair. It's a 2-story library / media center. On the right-hand side, you see the lower level where there are bookcases. The upper level is doubles as a classroom space. The furniture's been installed. We're ready for the library to be boxed up and moved over when the time is right. The area is clean. We've got, again, acoustical treatments on the wall. There's some famous quotes on those acoustical treatments. So KCBA has done a really nice job of matching both a graphic pattern with an acoustical treatment in the new building. Okay, next slide, please. Administrative offices and classrooms. On the left is a typical classroom. I think the committee has seen finished classrooms earlier and certainly with the board tour. Now there's furniture in those classrooms and it's all set up. And Mr. Lally has already boxed up teacher equipment. Actually, the teachers boxed it up. Joe just moved it over. So the teacher materials that aren't in use currently are now sitting in their rooms with names on them. So this is an example in the lower left of a classroom that's set up, ready for a teacher to set up. It's got the door on it. It's got the door locked and it's been cleaned. So it's really prepped for a teacher to come in and make it his or her own. On the right are the administration spaces, which received furniture here in January. This was one of the later areas of the building. Between December and February, the carpeting went in, the light fixtures were dropped, the base was in, the painting was done, and so now we have carpeted and furnished rooms for the administrators. So the admin space is coming along. Next slide. Okay, so how do we finish? As I mentioned, it's been really a whirlwind tour. Frankly, with building this building, we've sailed around the world together. We're coming across the Atlantic, and Boston Harbor, or your favorite harbor, is in our sights. There's a number of things that remain to get us into the dock. So far, with the timing that we've put together for our critical items, it's gone relatively well. A contractor has finished fire alarm testing, and the makeup air in the kitchen has been installed, and our POTS lines, plain old telephone service lines, have been activated, are in use. That was the week of the 24th. Last week, elevator testing was completed, and it gets inspected by the state inspector tomorrow. Sprinkler has been certified. The kitchen hood startup I mentioned was completed. And our only hang-up has been the emergency generator. When the emergency generator test was completed, a default from the factory was found, and a part has to be replaced in order for us to have an emergency generator. So right now, at this moment, we're waiting on word from Foley, the supplier of the generator, to tell us what they can do to get our generator going. So that's one thing that is preventing us from getting in the building right now. We understand that it's not a large-scale replacement, but we're waiting on word. So as soon as I get word, it goes to Joe, it goes to Mike, and we alter any plans that we may or may not have. Week of February 7th, the elevator gets inspection tomorrow, as I mentioned. We have the paging system manufacturer on site tomorrow through the end of the week, and he'll be commissioning the paging system. The Department of Health 75% kitchen inspection is on the 9th this week. You say 75%, what about the other 25%? Well, what the Department of Health does for the county is they come in and they're a good assistant in saying, we'll look at your kitchen. We don't want you to wait until you want the final inspection the night before you operate. We'll give you a 75% and tell you the things that we expect to have complete when we come back to give you the 100%. So it's a cooperative effort. They've been good enough to schedule that. We'll see it this week. Bill is going to work with the township to formally inspect the fire alarm system along with the fire marshal. That's on the 10th. The Ansel system is the suppression system that's in the kitchen. Also tentatively scheduled for the 10th. We've already started inspections with the township for ADA, which is like all the grab bars and the signage with the braille and all of our entrances. Bill has started that with the township and checked a number of items off the block. There's some areas that are just being completed now that they still have to inspect. Also, the township electrical inspections remain. And as we finish the cafeteria, the locker rooms, band, orchestra, choral, we can finish those electrical inspections. Outside, there's a little bit of work to do to get the building ready. We're making sure that we have temporary parking up on the football field for staff. We have ADA parking spaces, ADA signs, all of those things for occupancy. And our site contractor's coming back on Saturday and Sunday this coming weekend to do the work. If you haven't checked the weather, it sounds like it's going to be 60 degrees on Saturday, believe it or not. So somehow we've done the right thing. I always hold the superintendent in charge of weather, so Mike, keep up the good work for this weekend for me, okay? And then the week of the 14th, which is really at the end of that week, was when we wanted to be in. Any re-inspections that are necessary, that final Department of Health, and then finally a occupancy approval by the township. And a shout out to Plymouth Township. The inspectors met with us last week. They've worked with Bill and with Jim continuously on the project. And the inspections, for the most part, have really gone flawlessly throughout. And so they gave their support to the district for helping you get into this building safely, correctly, but in a manner that allows them to come in and do the inspections in a timely fashion so that they feel confident, and in turn you feel confident that it's time to get into the building. Work is really continuing every day. It's been happening on weekends. Everybody associated with the project has been just coming up with workarounds where need be. I'm trying not to use the darn word that I've used far too much, supply chain issues, but they really have plagued us for months now. But in most cases, we've found workarounds. We've found an alternate color. We found alternate products that don't decrease the value of the building, don't make it any less beautiful than I think it's going to be for you. But it has been certainly a nerve-wracking process for all of us involved. Go ahead, Dave. Here's an example of some of those things that we're working through. They include interior doors and door hardware for the area of the building that surrounds the gym. These are doors that are not required for occupancy by the township, but they really, in my opinion, are required for operation of the building. They're usually common doors, but we do expect doors to come in at this point. The problem has really been hardware. We might have doors hung, but in some cases we might have some hardware that's missing. It's not a code violation. It's not an ADA problem. We would like to get them in for operation. And my general statement has been our goal would be to get the district into the building, be able to educate students in the building without contractors around and working around them to do significant punch list work. Do I need a contractor in who's working on the HVAC controls or to do an electronic system, fine. But I don't want contractors in that building on a daily basis. That's what the summer is going to be for. But to provide them with enough time to get in and do some of this work that's coming down to the wire is probably a good thing to do, just to get them out of your hair so you can concentrate on middle school education. We have fire rated doors, a pair for one stair tower that is tentatively scheduled for the 14th. We always get into these discussions of the ship date versus the delivery date. In this case, the ship date is from some far off state, and so we want to find out what the actual delivery date is. The code enforcement folks have worked with us on this. It is a fully sprinklered building, so these fire doors are normally open at stair towers, and they only close in the event of a fire alarm. So he's working with us on that. The same for fire-rated glass. Those doors have a sight glass you can see through. And instead of putting glass in, which has been hard to come by, we can put fire-rated plywood in those openings that's painted. So these are the types of workarounds that we're constantly going through. Will it be an aesthetic issue? No, again, because those fire-rated doors are normally open on hold opens. So just some examples. The kitchen serving line is a solid surface that incorporates, it's a countertop that has epoxy in it. Also for the nurses suite, we've been waiting on that. It says scheduled to arrive 2:10, but Bill, where is it now? It arrived. It's in the building. So it arrived today. So there's some good news. We have one other area of solid surface countertop where we're making a color selection to allow that to be delivered on time. So it not only does it come down to material, but in some cases it comes down to, the darn color. Emergency generator, I mentioned that already. We have some miscellaneous electrical low voltage items, not like life safety items, but nuisance items for the building. If you've tried to buy a car in the past year, you know that the reason the car has not been delivered are because of electronic chips that are in the car. They just can't be found. It's the same thing with low voltage equipment. We also have some cosmetic or non-essential finish items that we want to make you and the community aware of when you move in. As a great example, and I understand that you might come through at some point here in the next couple of weeks, we have large 2x4 ceramic tiles in the lobbies. The main lobby, the main entrance, done. Tile ran out to finish the gym entrance, and so we want to wait for the manufacturer to do another run so that we don't put half the tile up, get a new run, and it's slightly different in color, and all of a sudden we have a color issue. So code enforcement for the township work with us. As long as we safe the joints and paint it so that it looks appealing, the tile could go in over the summer. No harm, no foul. So that's an example. Display cases. The display cases are here and they're going in, but it's almost embarrassing to say the rails that the sliding glass doors ride on caught up in supply chain. So we've got display cases in, doors that would go in storage, and a workaround for the opening, whether that's covered, whether it's filled with non-essentials. That's what we'd be looking at for opening day. Card readers, the electronic swipes on the doors. There's a Mercury card for the system. Supply chain. We've been looking for this card for 2 months, and we're still unsure of exactly when it will come. Could be like the countertops and show up tomorrow. Could come after. But we also have locks on the exterior doors. The card access is only on exterior doors, so we've got to use the old key system in order to open and close the doors. Sound and audio system components for the cafeteria, gym, music rooms, and fitness have been delayed. The first couple of those for band, orchestra, and choral, I believe, arrived today. Bill, did you see Berkshire's sound equipment show up today? Yep. So the first delivery came. The audio system for the auditorium, many of the components are there, but many small are missing. So the idea is to open the auditorium, be able to use it, but we might not have a sound and audio system. I say might. We're waiting to find out. Okay. Responder radio system is also an item that we're working on that would go in after opening. So, these are really the list of significant items. I've got a much more longer and detailed list of other items that we're continuing to work on that we update for Joe and his team really it's gotten to be a daily basis, hasn't it, Joe? And then Jim is working on the punch list for the contractors, the age-old, tried and true punch list that you have at the end of every job. But we'll continue to work on that primarily over the summer or after hours is the desire. Okay, Dave? The other thing in determining the opening date is that we have to remember that once we open, we're not yet done. So once we open the new middle school, we've got some work to finish abatement work in the existing middle school. There are transite or asbestos-containing counters and hoods that need to be removed, and also some more floor tile that's under the carpet in the admin space. So we have a couple of weeks there. At the same time, Joe's got the chore of removing the existing furniture, salvaging any remaining items, kind of completing the moving things over like the carpentry shop, and again, just getting the building ready to leave. We also have the solar panels on the roof that need to be removed, stacked, and sent for recycling, and then we're ready for demo. So this is really our start and finish for the completion of the work. And while occupancy of the new building has been fluctuating as we move ahead, we want to get into that new building because we need to provide time to finish the rest of the project. Old building has to come down. We've got stormwater utilities, site lighting utilities, and 2 big parking lots to construct over the summer to be ready for next fall. And really the very end is completing the conversion to get the parking lots done, to get the staff off the football field and get them on the parking lot so we can refurbish the football field and then finish the soccer field and the restoration of the baseball field down below. So it's, yes, we want to get in. Yes, we want to be ready before we get in, but we have to push a little bit in order to get in because we still have a lot of project left to do as far as site work goes. That's where we are. Happy to answer any questions, and I'm sure the district team has some more words with respect to where we stand.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. Before the board asks questions of Dewey or Joe or myself, we walked through the last several Wednesdays, as you saw from the list, specifically the items that are right up in mid-February, the things that we need to get done. And so the staff got to go in this past Friday and spend several hours in there in the afternoon, start moving in material. I want to thank Plymouth Township for their flexibility in letting us start to move items in there. And Joe and his team have been at it day and night moving items. But we have an educational program that we're also still supporting, so not everything can be moved right away. So the idea behind this, after COVID hit and we had the 6-week delay, was looking at the long weekend over President's Day to do the lion's share of the moving. We have an in-service day on the 18th, and then hopefully start the kids the following Tuesday on the 22nd. Met with the faculty today, and Joe and I met with Dewey, and I'm recommending to the board, I'm informing the community, and we'll send a note an email to our families tomorrow. We really need 2 more weeks. I got an email last night, a very nice email, but said the rumor is we're not getting in the building this year. No, the plan is to absolutely be in the building this year. But because of some of those items, particularly the things related to the fire-rated doors, the cafeteria, the kitchen area, and the inspections that have to take place, and a few things that are caught up in the supply chain, we're looking at March 7th. So what does that do for us for the next several weeks? One, we're still using the 18th as a major moving day. So it was great that we have permission from the township to do that. And then Mr. Failer and I met with the faculty today to talk about what they need to keep in the building so that there's those 9 instructional days that have to take place between the 22nd and the 7th. We need to keep moving forward. We have PSSAs coming up. We have curriculum to get through. And the staff was great. They're getting new interactive whiteboards in the new building, so they'll still have access to all of their materials in the cloud and saved on their various drives so that they can continue teaching. And it'll get messy. It'll be, anybody who's done construction on their home, before, whether it's before a holiday or over the summer or whatever it is, those last few days are always the toughest. So this is no different. It's just a lot more square footage. I can tell you the teachers, they just absolutely love the space, and they understand that there are some aesthetic things that we need to clean up, and that'll most likely take place. Definitely, it can't be when kids are in the building. So it'll be in the evenings or in the summer, as Jamie already said. So we're really excited. Should we need another week, we'll keep parents informed, and that would only be due to the supply chain challenges. But the goal was, if we had to announce a delay, we only want to announce one delay. So we're pressing, Dewey's pressing, Penn, Myco, and Wind Gap, the three primes are pressing, and the building is full of people working. So we're going to keep getting there. And the gentleman to my left, Joe, has been over there nonstop. So he's represented the district very well. We just figured that extra 2 weeks will help us and help the kids and staff really enjoy moving in. Once we get it open, we will be announcing nights for tours and open house dates. We have a lot to plan for that. It won't be right away, but hopefully later this spring, and then a formal ceremony. But it's there's just other things that have to be done, and we'll get into more detail in the coming weeks. New traffic flows. Like Jamie said, we still have a good portion of the project to go when we finish. Middle school is working on some videos and some instructional emails on what traffic flow will look like for the buses as they wrap around the building. And then we'll do it all again later this summer of 22 before we open, because we'll have new parking lots and buses will be coming in off of New Hope Street versus Belvoir, and separating the cars and the buses, I think, will be welcomed by all families in Colonial, in particular all of our neighbors over on Belvoir Road in the associated neighborhood. So, Joe, did I miss anything?
No, not at all. It's the only thing I'd like to share with everyone is that the teachers' input has been phenomenal. I actually had one teacher that was brought to tears. So they're really, it's good. It's really exciting. I can't wait to see the students get into the building. Everybody has mentioned Plymouth Township and thanking them. In all my years here at Colonial and working with the three municipalities, they have been absolutely wonderful to work with. The meeting the other day was just great that they were on the same page and trying to help us get in and willing to work with us. So it really was nice to see. The team gets thrown around a lot now, right? But it's nice to see the township and the school district working together to get our children into that building.
Questions from the board?
Will there be a traffic flow map or pattern sent out to everybody before they open?
Yeah.
Yes, there will be.
First, I was just going to say thanks to everyone involved for the collaboration and the great work. I mean, a 2-week delay based off of a 6-week delay that we couldn't control, I think is still an awesome job done by the entire team. So thank you all. I had a question about the workarounds. So you did mention some of the workarounds would then have a final fix. I didn't hear a workaround for the no audio in the auditorium. Just curious, is there going to be a workaround, whether it be deployed by you all or just by the district, meaning bringing in some temporary equipment? Because I'm sure there's going to be some kind of big celebration with the students. So with no audio, that would be awkward.
That's a great question. Well, obviously, we would rather have everything installed that we need, but if we have to rent equipment, we will. The middle school show is actually this week in our current building. I think they're putting on Annie. But when we have promotion ceremonies in the spring, provided we can have large gatherings again, and hopefully the data shows that we can. And then the tech school is hoping to host the graduation there. So if we have to rent equipment, we will. I have to tell you, I get excited walking around the building, so I know our families are going to enjoy it. The music rooms in the back, those of you who have children who are invested in the arts, the music rooms are phenomenal. They are large spaces. The orchestra teacher, Mrs. O'Connor, and our chorus teacher, Mrs. Venkus, didn't want to leave last Friday. And the stage, the auditorium is beautiful. And then the science rooms in the classroom wing, science teachers are very excited about their space. And it's just, and the hallways, I don't want to sound like too simple, but the hallways are so wide. It's so nice. The kids will have ample passing room. And for the kids that have been in the middle school, obviously passing time can be a challenge in our current building, and but just the ability to spread out is really good. So teachers are very happy. We're sure the children will love it and our families will love it. So we just need to be a little patient, and hopefully we get in there in early March.
Yeah, and along those lines, I have a 6th grader and an 8th grader, and the first thing, my own kids are asking, but also their friends. I mean, the buzz, they're so excited. They can't wait. They've been, watching the project sort of, out their current windows. So I think once everybody's in, it's going to be great. So thank you guys for, all the work you've done. One quick question, the kitchen, that sort of sounded like that was one of the last things that has to be finished up. And you made a good point about Lori and her staff being able to get everything moved in. Are there like anything that's not going to arrive, like contingency plans? I mean,
Lori shared with me her transition plan, shared it with Joe and me, and she sent me an update today. So she feels they're in a good place. It's just we need the 75% approval and then the 100% approval so that we can actually get in there.
I know she's great at making anything happen, no matter what or when, but just
definitely have
making
to
sure
feed
she
the
has
kids.
the support, everything. She's good.
Our greatest tool is the communication immediately upon finding something out, because as soon as we hear something, we can then move. Now, the generator has me nervous, and making sure I have a kitchen makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. But all these other things that we've talked about, one of the things that was high on our list is there's solid surface made of epoxy that goes on the serving line that the children move their trays on. That was a problem up until Friday. We learned that it's coming. And so all of a sudden that went away in the kitchen and focuses on what we're kind of used to, which is that last inspection. We're really at the hands of the inspector, but the more we can move that up, the better shape that we're in. But as soon as we hear something, if we can communicate it to the team, Joe come up with a solution, or Bob Fowler say, this is how we'll handle that. Or if it's a data thing, Drew comes to the rescue somehow, and we figure out a workaround, not something that diminishes, like I said, what we're doing, but we figure out a workaround. And then just to your point with respect to AV, we're talking about weeks of delay, not months, or, you're not going to see audiovisual until the fall. So, I've been on the phone directly with the manufacturer. All right, when do you have everything? Well, I have the projector, I have the speakers, but there's a card that I don't have, so I can't connect everything. So the last thing we want to do is put the projector in and let it sit. So we might as well have them come all at once and install the system. That's the other thing that we have to watch out about, bringing something in that's not yet ready to operate, and what happens to it, especially while we're still in the tail end of construction. So we're doing this, we're shimmying our way into the dock, if you will. If you go back to my metaphor, just trying to make the right choices, bang them off of you, the owner, so that you can agree, disagree, or say we have to do something else, whether it's rent equipment. But fortunately, knock on, it's real wood. So far, a lot of the worries that we've had, because of the quick action of everybody on the team, good things have happened. So keep going steady and just inform everybody if there's any hiccups the rest of the way.
Other questions from the board?
So I heard you mention like the plan for the traffic, and I know you asked it too. But as I'm looking at the overhead view, I'm just imagining what a nightmare it's going to be to come in. Like, I mean, I know you're going to work on something, but like, what kind of like room do you really have to snake around this building with the buses.
Sure. So, go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, Dr. Christian. Tim McDonald, Principal Failer, Bill Hambley, we've all met out on site, and we've come up with a plan that we think is safe. We actually got a bus over there, and we took the bus around the building to see if we could do, our plan would actually be carried out, because this is temporary, obviously, till we can demo the existing building. We also got the police involved to get their aspect and see what they thought, if there were any ideas. So I think it's just a matter of us communicating that plan to the board now, so that you guys can see it and see what we have. But we do have a plan in place that we believe is the safest plan possible. And again, got everybody everyone's impact on it. The police.
So Jim Kiefer put together. We can get the diagram, and we had shown it a while back. For this temporary portion, the buses will come in and wrap around the existing school. That's the emergency drive that's wrapped around the whole school. Cars will still come in off Belvoir Road, and there'll be a specific drop off for car. So that we have to do that for the remainder of this school year. So we'll have traffic flow. We do have access to the road. So if you've ever been to the middle school at drop off or dismissal currently, right? Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. There should be some relief, not the best relief, but some relief already, because we're using the new access road. So eventually, however, and we'll get a picture of this, because Joe, we have copies of this, when the new parking lot is built and we open up into the new year, the buses will still come in off of the access road, and there will be a distinct parking lot area for the buses, and they'll park in a chevron fashion, and we will be separate. There'll be a distinct separate drop-off line for cars. So they'll really be separated, and never the two shall meet. We had Tim involved in the Plymouth Township Police with the temporary plan, just because they get very close to one another. And if we have to add security, crossing guards, all that, just to get through these 3 months, we will. But we'll get a copy of those diagrams for all the new board members.
And walkers, there'll be the same crosswalk where walkers normally come across, and then I guess will there be like the sidewalk leads all the way up to the new?
We'll get a copy of all that. That's where it gets a little more when they actually get to March and they start demoing. So we'll have to have a specific area identified for the walkers, but we will.
Yeah, so Mr. McDonald met with the police on Friday and discussed, we wanted to make sure they were comfortable with our walker option. So we're actually meeting out there tomorrow to just review that last piece. But again, we just wanted to make sure we got everybody involved, that we weren't missing something. So get all the players together and kind of, bang our heads together, come up with the best idea that's safest for the kids.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's no more questions, we can move to the next item.
Well, thank you. And thank, your teams. I know you guys have all been working around the clock to make this happen and happen on time. And I assume everything's on budget and we're coming in where we expected, even with a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, we are.
Budget. I haven't seen you in months. We haven't said change order at all, have we?
We'll have a whole summary for the board, but we're in good shape.
Okay. All right. But yeah, thank you guys. I mean, like I said, the kids are, for middle school kids, this is like a huge deal. They are really, really excited and can't wait to be in there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. The last couple items on the agenda, I can kind of roll them together, is the CES roof repair. So some of you may be aware that we had a pretty significant roof repair done to the auditorium here at CES. As Mr. Zablowski mentioned earlier, in the 5-year capital, these are the things that are identified in that plan. So we can address these type of repairs, again, infrastructure type things that unfortunately can cost a pretty penny, but they're things that we need to do to keep the building safe, and it affects more than just a leak. It's indoor air quality and all them great things. So again, we're staying on top of those things, and that the repair here was done. We are watertight, and we're happy to say that should last us several years. And then lastly, if everyone remembers at the last board meeting, we actually spoke about the Conshohocken HVAC roof replacement, the roof replacement along with the HVAC replacement. So those, both of those projects went out to bid. We had a pre-bid meeting. Bids are due back in early March, and we'll bring them to the committee before our March meeting. But the goal there is to replace the old AC units that are on the roof. And while we're doing that, replace the upper roof at the same time. So we did get a good turnout of 6 bidders for the HVAC portion and the mandatory pre-bid, and 7 bidders for the roofing side. So that's always a positive sign. You know, we get a lot of bidders out. And then lastly on the agenda was a transportation update, but I think Mr. Zablowski already told you that Dr. Christian took his thunder.
Yeah.
And, so.
Yeah, it came up in the finance committee meeting, but just to make it official, since Thanksgiving, we have hired 1 driver. First student has hired 1 driver. Not good. We're still trying to get more people to apply. As Dr. Christian said, we have on our website now, right now, the first student has upped the hourly rate to $25 an hour, and there is a $5,000 signing bonus for a CDL driver to sign on. So if anybody's listening and needs a job, we got it for you.
If there's no more questions, that's the last item on the agenda.
Okay. Are there any other board comments? Okay. Any public comments?
I have two emails to share. Both on the same topic, transportation. First one is from Ryan and Carol Dolphinbach of White Marsh Township. Dear Colonial School Board, we were hoping the FMT could address a situation that is concerning to us as parents of a PW high school senior. As you're probably aware, dismissal at the high school leads to a massive backup of traffic on along Colonial Drive and throughout the parking lots at PW and CES. It often takes our daughter 20 to 30 minutes just to exit the school and to get out to Flowertown Road. That is not the concern. This is not the concern, as we realize with less kids taking buses and more kids driving or receiving rides to and from school, it will take more time to exit. The issue is that students have 2 ways to exit the school by vehicle. Those students and parents exiting the school on Germantown Pike merge into traffic that is moving very slowly. Traffic on Germantown is very heavy, and there are flashing lights with a decreased speed limit to 15 miles an hour. Now, on many days, we have witnessed a police officer with flashing lights to keep the traffic speeds low. While there is significant traffic, the risk associated with merging into this traffic flow is probably minimal. It's a completely different story, however, for those students exiting via Flowertown Road. The speed limit on Flowertown Road is 40 miles per hour. We live off of Flowertown and Butler Pike and can assure you that rarely do cars travel at the actual speed limit. As you can imagine, most drivers are driving 45 to 50 miles per hour. Additionally, this is a very popular road for dump trucks as they travel to and from the quarry on Joshua Road and to the highway access for 476 and Pennsylvania Turnpike, all access from Flowertown Road. These trucks also travel a very high rate of speed. There's nothing to slow down traffic as students try to negotiate making a left or right turn onto Flowertown Road. I'm absolutely amazed there's not been a serious accident involving a PW student trying to turn onto Flowertown Road. We have witnessed several near accidents during the time PW students are dismissed, which is the reason for this notification. If the school board staff or police department are unaware of this, we would ask you to stand at Colonial Drive and Flowertown Road at 2:20 p.m. You will no doubt ask the same questions we have posed. We believe a simple answer would be to ask the White Marsh Police Department to station an officer at dismissal time on Flowertown Road with flashing lights to slow down traffic on the road. There doesn't seem to be any purpose for stationing a police officer on Germantown Pike, so why not move them to Flowertown Road? If resourcing is an issue, is it worth the life of a student for the 20 to 30 minutes it takes to help students exit in an orderly manner? I don't think anyone would question the importance of finding some type of solution to this matter. We truly appreciate you looking into this matter, and we are happy to help in any way we can. Thank you for serving on the school board and addressing this issue. And I have one more. It's from Fran Doherty, Plymouth White Marsh High School parent. Want to ask for the school and the district to please review the traffic patterns coming onto Flowertown Road from Plymouth White Marsh High School at dismissal. The kids have to gun it to go. Please advise a safer exit strategy. How can I help? I left a voicemail for Dr. Bacani and spoke with Township Police twice and Fran McCusker in the township. Please help with this. Thank you. So we got these this evening right before the meeting. I've been in the district 5 years. Certainly aware of the challenges of traffic in the community. And Joe's aware. We'll meet with Tim McDonald and we'll meet with Chief Ward and review our traffic patterns and our dismissal procedures for our buses and for our cars at the high school. And then if we have to, we'll come back and have Tim present to the board either at a future FMT.
Okay, is there any other public comment? All right, this meeting is adjourned.